Okay, we're on the air.
All
Hi,
right. Well, how are you doing, Dennis?
I'm doing well, Connie. How are you today?
I am fantastic, and I'm so excited that your event is coming up just in the next three weeks. I mean, it's coming upon us very quickly now.
Must be like 3.5 weeks, or is it 2.5 weeks? I don't know. It's yeah, quickly.
Yeah, June 12th through 14th,
Right.
and I'm doing a night before event for people that come in through me. So on Thursday night, the 11th, and I'll be meeting with people. But how did you come to get started doing this event? Because I didn't come the first couple of times because I didn't know you.
Well, the first one was in Orlando in 2009, and I had never considered or even thought that I would, possibly be able to do something like this. And I had a couple partners at the time, very loose partners, and they didn't last long. But they said, how we can make some extra income is we could run an Earn1KaDay seminar and hopefully get a lot of the members of the group to join us. And I said, well, that sounds pretty good. I said, I don't know how to do that because I wasn't even going to seminars at the time. I'd never been to an internet marketing seminar. I'd run a couple in my prior career, but that was software consulting and whatever. So I said, if you're willing to do the work and write the sales copy and all that, and try to find some speakers, whatever, I'm willing to sponsor one and put my money behind it. So that's how it started, and it was a lot of fun. It was in January 2009, so even in Orlando it was sort of frigid. But then for the next year in 2010, I said, well, let's we were on the East Coast already once, so it's the attendance wasn't all that great. So I think it's worth doing another one and trying to see if we can do better by having it on the West Coast. And I thought Vegas might be a good spot where the the hotels and the airlines, whatever, it's a major hub. So I said, let's try Vegas, and we've been there ever since. So this is the 7th year for the seminar and the 6th year at the Tuscany Hotel.
Excellent, excellent. Because I started doing my events at the Tuscany because you had done them successfully there, and I did. I think I've done 6 or 7 events there over the years, first with Jeanette Cates and then on my own. But your event, Dennis, it's so special. It's different than anything that any of us have ever gone to or put on ourselves or anything. I like the way that you have Friday as the mastermind day. And when I first came, I think it was 2012 was the first year that I came, and it felt a little uncomfortable. I have to be honest with you, that first half hour, because the chairs were in 2 circles and inside of each other, and I wasn't sure what to say or do. I knew a few people there, but I thought, yeah, I'm not sure how this works. And then it began to unfold, and people started asking questions and answering questions. And I just fell in love with that format of
Yeah.
being able to mastermind with people that were beginners, people that had some success, and people that were so solid, had done great things for a long time on the internet.
Yeah, it's a good mix, isn't it? And when
Yes.
we go around the first time and everybody introduces themselves, it gets people to speak. They have to say something, for 30 seconds to a minute, and sometimes that's what it takes to get people um, to be comfortable in the group. And then they have all day there at the mastermind, and we have the meet and greet at night for 4 hours. Most people come to that, and by the time the first speaker session comes on Saturday, people already know each other, and they have friends already, and maybe they went to dinner with somebody or breakfast or whatever. And yeah, I think it works out well.
Yes, yes. And people that have been in your forum for any period of time, sometimes, they are talking to someone and they go, oh, I know who you are. Now I recognize your name.
Yeah,
I've talked to you inside of the forum, and that,
you,
that
you look,
realization,
right. You look nothing like your avatar.
that's funny. But, I know for me, I've had a measure of success now. I've been online 9 years, but I found that, the mastermind to begin with, at some point I thought, well, gee, I guess I would be answering questions for people. And no, it shifted. It went back and forth and back and forth, where many times I was saying, this is something I'm interested in. I have almost no experience in it. who can help me. And there were a variety of people from the group then that helped me. And it felt really good to be in different positions throughout the day and really connect with people. And you're right, by the time that Saturday morning rolled around, much too soon, it's Saturday morning, and people are starting to speak, and it's just an amazing way then to get that focus training from the people that you have chosen as your speakers. And you've been kind enough to let me speak every year, and that's been exciting for me.
Yeah, no, the kindness is all yours. But yeah, by the end of Friday, you know pretty much who you want to have breakfast with or lunch with or dinner with the rest of the weekend, and rather than coming in cold on Saturday and getting the lay of the land, and then make a new friend and they fly home on Sunday. You don't have to worry about that because people are there, and
Yes.
it's just I can't take credit for the idea, but I think it works out well to have that mastermind on Friday. It originally was an optional day where people could pay for 2 days or for 3 days, and then everyone was choosing the 3 days. So at least 95%. So I said it's no longer an option. It's a 3-day event, and I'm glad I made that decision.
Yes, and I think some of us we have done that in our own events where we've made that first day included, and we have made it more of a mastermind day. And something else I'll say about the Tuscany, that one reason that I followed suit with you holding events there. What I really like is that the internet is available throughout the hotel and in the conference rooms, and that's very rare. Most places that I go to, the internet is not. You can't just connect to the hotel's internet in the conference rooms, especially. Plus, every room there is a suite. Every room. I mean, I've lived in apartments 2 different times in my life that were smaller than the rooms at the Tuscany.
Yeah, Jason Fladlin said that to me also the first time he was there. He said
so
my first apartment was smaller than this.
Yes, and people can hook up with a roommate. I'm happy to do that. I've done that for people for years now at different events, including my own. Is if you want a roommate, I'll connect you with the same-sex roommate. And the rooms, I mean, like, it's so big. I mean, you have a kitchenette, so they'll bring in a microwave. You have a refrigerator there and a table and chairs. There's also a living room area. There's a sofa and a coffee table and chairs, and an area to do your computer in your room, and then 1 or 2 beds, depending on what you are doing. But everything, it's so reasonably priced, and it is easy to get to Las Vegas from most places in the country and even throughout the world. So that's great.
Yeah, Vegas is great, and I know going to NAMS in Atlanta, I was shocked at how much the taxi fare was to get back and forth between the hotel and the airport, and in Vegas at the Tuscany, it's only like a $20 plus tip taxi ride if you want to take a taxi, which I didn't the first year. I took the shuttle, which was like $11, and I said that took over an hour. So I said, this is crazy. I'll spend another $10 and get there in 15 minutes.
Right, unless people want to tour the city. If you want that 1 hour tour,
right,
then you can do that. And also, we've got healthy grocery stores close by. We've got Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, and we're always making runs to those stores if you're on a special diet or something like that. But it's really fantastic. But Dennis, let's talk about the lineup this year. Let's
Sure.
talk about the people that are going to be there. I'm just going to go from the top. The first one is Will Matos. So tell us how you came to know Will, and then I'll tell you my story about Will.
Okay. Well, Will was really, really special. He's been to every one. And the first one in Orlando, he was there with his then girlfriend, or maybe she was a fiance or something, and he was just sitting back in the crowd and soaking everything in. And he was a member of Earn1KaDay, and I had known him from that, and he was just an attendee, or not. Shouldn't say just an attendee, because attendees are pretty special too. But he wasn't a speaker that time. And then between then and 2010, I sort of encouraged him very strongly that I knew that he had some talent in creating software. And I said, well, why don't you get something out and put a buy button on it and try to make some money? Because I knew he wanted to. I knew he could, and I knew he was just a little bit timid about it. So he was actually he actually did that during that year, and started making some sales. I forget what platform he used. This was before Warrior Plus, I think, and well before JVZoo. Maybe he used eJunkie or something, because I know I was an affiliate for him, and I made a bunch of sales. This was his easy redirect script, and I was one of the first users, and I still use it every day. And then that sort of opened up his eyes to the to what could be done by marketing online. And in the second year, he was a speaker, and the third year, I think it was, or was it the second year? He was actually in a little mastermind that we had privately in the day before the seminar began, and he actually met Jason Fladlin at that mastermind, and Jason was ranting about this product that he really wanted to buy. For some reason, with the world of the internet being 24 hours, the people took the product offline when it wasn't their business hours. Why they would do that, I don't know. And Jason was just so frustrated. He said, it's a great concept, their product, but I can't buy it, and I'd love to bury those people if I could find somebody to write the product for me. And well, the story goes, got with Jason that weekend and said, I could write that product for you. Give me, tell me what you wanted to do, and give me a couple months or whatever. And that was the beginning of WP Twin. And I know I was an affiliate, and as now I have a license to sell it myself. I personally sold 2,000 or 3,000 copies of that product, and I know they've sold tens of thousands of it. But that was their first joint venture arrangement, and that turned into Rapid Crush, which is now, I guess, an 8-figure business. So yeah, Will has come a long way, and he's a brilliant person. He's a great speaker, and he's a very good friend.
Yes. Well, Will lives about 7 miles from me in one of the cities that I live in. I live in Santa Barbara and Santa Clarita, and he lives about 7 miles from me in Santa Clarita. And when Jason Fladlin is in town, when they're doing Rapid Crush business, then we tend to go out with a couple of other local people. We go out for sushi, and we spend some time together. And Jason has even stayed at my house. So it was funny, about 2 years ago, Jason and Will were at my house one evening, and Will said to me, he said, Connie, he says, you don't really remember the first time you met me, do you? And I got a funny look on my face, and I said, Will, I said, did you and I date? Did we have a date long ago? Because I couldn't remember. I couldn't place it. And so we all had a good laugh about that. And it turned out that somebody had actually had an internet marketing conference in Santa Clarita years ago. It had to be probably 2008. And at some point in the conference, it was a weekend thing, and it wasn't put together very well. But at some point, the man said, if anybody has something, an offer, if you want to come up on the stage and make an offer, you're welcome to do so now. Well, I thought, this is my opportunity. So I jumped up, and there were only about 5 of us in line, and I got up on the stage, and I said that I had and I mean, this was early on for me, just second year. And I got up on the stage and I said, yes, that I had something that I was teaching about blogging and article marketing, how to repurpose your content, and that if people put in their business card, that then I would actually have a winner for it, and everybody else would have access to another piece of it. And so they passed around, a little bucket, and people put in the business card, and it was Will's then fiance, Christiana, who was the winner. And so she and Will came up to me afterwards, and she ended up on my list all those years ago. And that's when I had met them, and I didn't even remember it later on. So yeah, Will has become a great local friend, and I see him about every month or two now on a regular basis.
Yeah, I always look forward to meeting Will in Vegas. He's spoken at all my events except for the first one, but he was at the first one, and he's going to be speaking again this year, of course. And I look forward to having dinner or breakfast or whatever with him.
Yeah, because he's a real systems guy, and I really like that. He's a very logical, linear thinker, and he organizes his thoughts and his business very well. And I know I've learned a lot from following that. That you can't have things all over the place. That won't
Right.
ever work.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next person is Gene Pimentel, and I know Gene from your events, and he and his wife Rowie are very special people from upstate New York. And how did you come to connect with Gene and Rowie?
Well, Gene, through the Earn1KaDay forum, of course. The first seminar we had, I forget how many speakers. We had slotted speakers to speak like an hour or whatever it was at the time. But then I said, well, there's a bunch of people in the forum, and I'd like to give them the opportunity. So we had a couple, 2 or 3 slots open, 2 or 3 full slots, and I said, well, let's break them down into mini slots. So we'd have 2 or 3 speakers into into an hour. And Gene was one of those um, that had a mini slot, and he just got up there and talked about domaining, which he's an expert in, and he had the crowd just wild, with everything he was saying. I think John and Matt Rhodes were there. Maybe it was just John, and they were taking notes like crazy. And afterwards they said, this is going to pay for the seminar. What I just learned about buying and selling domain names. And Gene has been there, except for 1 year that he couldn't make it. I guess he and Roy had a prior engagement where they were going to Hawaii or something. But he's been there just about every year since. And I usually save him for the last speech on the second day, just to try to make sure that the people stick around and they don't book early flights, because usually I find that the people really want to hang on for Gene's presentation, because it's very actionable material that you can take notes and take action and start making money with it, almost immediately if that's your kind of situation.
Yes, I love hearing him talk. And, from the first time that I heard him in 2012, I realized that I actually had domains that were valuable. And his training then and his talk really taught me what to do with them and how to actually make some money with them. So domaining is fun. And, I guess that is the closest to kind of quick, easy money that you can come to, and it's fun as well, and super low investment when you're buying a domain and then selling it.
Yeah, if you can hold yourself back and you don't buy 50 domains at a time.
Yes, yes. Pacing. Everything is pacing.
Yeah, and you listen to his advice and just buy .coms and just buy, without hyphens. And, I had, I realize now that when I was first starting, I wanted a domain name and it wasn't available, so I put a dash into it, or put a 2 at the end of it or something, and those wouldn't have any value, or I buy a .info domain, and those don't have any value, and I learned all that from Gene.
Yes, all the stuff that can make us money and save us money. Well, the next person is Justin Popovich, and I met Justin originally at your event, but now I've spent time with him in Canada twice, just recently, just about 2 weeks ago, at Kelly Mikaze's event. And Justin is a real sharp younger fellow, and just has so much to offer. His experiences and how he shares what he's doing are quite amazing. So tell us more about Justin.
Well, I met Justin. I was a member of Brad Goss's mastermind group for a while, and I met Justin through that group, and we just became friends. We talked on the phone now and then. I became a member of his PLR membership because he has quality stuff at a reasonable price, and I'm always looking for that for my forum or for other reasons. And I invited him to speak at, I forget which event, and realizing that he was, among other things, a good inspirational kind of speaker, and talks about self-development kind of topics, which I'm always very interested in. And he had I put him on first in the morning. I forget whether it was Saturday or Sunday, because I like to have somebody wake up the crowd, give people a reason to get out of bed, and but to wake up the crowd, and before they've had their first full cup of coffee or whatever. And he's the kind of person that can do that, get people on their feet and laughing and smiling and whatever. And he's been a good friend, and he's always welcome back. He's got a family that he takes on either cross Canada or cross U.S. trips every summer, and I wasn't able to book him for last year because that was in the middle of his 6-week vacation time or whatever. They were going camping in Canada, or I forget whether it was Canada or the U.S. But we booked the Tuscany a couple weeks early this year, and he was able to schedule it before he takes his cross country trip, which I was very happy to have happen.
Yes, yeah, he's really something. Really something. All right, so the next person is Kelly Mikaze, and I was just at her event in Canada. It's where I saw Justin. I've spoken there twice now, and Kelly's a special person. What I did this time was instead of flying directly to Toronto, I flew to Detroit in and out and met with Kelly, and we drove into Canada because I live 3 hours from the U.S.-Mexico border, and I've gone in and out of Mexico probably 100 times in the past 25 years, but I never had the opportunity to drive in and out of Canada, and I thought it would be fun and to be able to spend that time with Kelly. So she was agreeable to that, and we did it, and it was just so much fun, even though they gave us a hard time at the border. They didn't want to let us in. Unlike Mexico, where anybody can go in, they don't ask you any questions. In Canada, they really want to know who's coming into the country. So we had to answer the questions correctly before they actually would let us into the country.
Really? I've never been to Canada since they've made you, have passports and all that. They would ask questions. I went. I lived in Erie, Pennsylvania, which isn't too far from Buffalo, which is right across the border from Canada. So, went to Niagara Falls a few times, and both Niagara Falls is on both the U.S. and the Canadian side. So we wanted to experience both. And in business, when I had my consulting business, I went to Canada quite a few times, and they'd ask a few questions, but are you here for business or pleasure? And if you tell them, then they say, well, what is your business, and or where are you going, sightseeing or whatever it is, and they didn't give us a hard time, but I guess things have changed since 9/11.
Things have changed, and I was holding my iPhone just in my hand when they were interrogating us, and they said to me, "You're not filming this, are you?" And I said, No. And they said, "Put the phone down." So I put it down on the floor in front of me and held my hands up so they could see I wasn't doing it. And this was a woman. I mean, she was tough. She was tough. But Kelly has done really great things. She's been online for so long. I can't remember now how many years. Something like 13, 14 years. A long time, since her son, who's now in his 20s, was just maybe 10 or 11 or 12 years old or something. And, she was a single mom, and she built a business that now is just, growing and growing. And she has so much great information to share.
Yeah, I didn't know Kelly that well until I guess I was introduced by either you or Nicole Dean to her, and I met her at a NAMS conference, the one that I went to, and she had been an attendee at one of the Earn1KaDay seminars, I guess 2 years ago, and then last year she was a speaker, and this year she'll be a speaker again. So she always gets good reviews. So she's always welcome.
She really does. Yeah, she has so much to offer, because with Kelly, what I really like about her, what I really admire, is that she stays very calm in all situations. And I can't say that I do the same. I tend to be reactionary, and if something happens, I say, wait, we have to address this. What are we going to do? And instead, with Kelly, she just kind of sits back and waits to see, and she speaks when the time is right. So that's a quality that I'm aspiring to during 2015.
Well, good luck with that.
You don't sound very hopeful for me.
Leopards don't change spots.
Oh no! Oh no! All right, I'll have to prove myself that
Uh,
I can stay calm longer.
yeah. No, 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 I'm sure you can.
All right. Well, the next person is John Rhodes, and John is now the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer for Rapid Crush, Jason and Will's company. But he used to work with Jay Boyer, and I know you have a much longer history with John. I just saw him in Vegas a few months ago, but I know you have a much longer history with him than I do. So tell us about John Rhodes.
Okay. He was a speaker at our first couple events, first two or three. Pretty sure. I mean, I know the first couple. I'm not sure about the third. There was one that which may have been the third where he ended up canceling at the last minute because he and his brother Matt were supposed to be speakers separately, where before they had co-spoke, if that's a word, and I was at breakfast on the day that John was supposed to speak, and Matt came up to him. He said, "John has food poisoning. He can't make his flight."
Oh
So I said, "Oh,
no!
no, 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 no!" And ended up that Jason Fladlin agreed to give a second presentation to bail us out there. But I guess I originally met John way back in my very beginnings when I was just struggling and buying lots of what we call bright shiny objects now, and I was buying all sorts of stuff on the Warrior Forum, and John and Matt were selling all sorts of stuff on the Warrior Forum, so I was buying what they had, and I was often leaving reviews in the forum, and which they liked because I always liked their stuff. It was always high quality, and I guess we just became friendly. And then they started giving me review copies of their new products as it came out because they knew that I would be willing to leave an honest review, and I always did. So as friends, they were John and Matt both were welcome speakers at my events, and we became friends from meeting in person. So John hasn't been around lately, but Will said, do you have a slot for John this year after he became an employee, a CMO of Rapid Crush? And I said, certainly, certainly. So he's here again, and I'm
Great.
I'm
And
very glad.
John is really he's wicked smart. He really is. I
Oh
had him
yeah,
as a guest on my podcast series, and it was just amazing what he talked about. Went way over my head, but I'm always open to learning.
yeah, yeah. He's always I remember he was always talking about systems and usability and things like that, making good user experience for people that purchase your products. And he's got a lot to offer there. I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about this time, but I'm sure it's going to be very beneficial.
Yes. I always take lots of notes. All right. Well, the next speaker is Teresa Miller, and I've known Teresa mainly from your events, but I have seen her elsewhere. And what I really like about Teresa is she's very focused as an author, and she really shares the very best information. If I want to know what's going on in the area of writing and publishing and just authorship in general, then she's my go-to person.
Yeah, Teresa's great. She's a longtime member of Earn1KaDay, and I forget exactly when it was, but she's come to the seminar most of the time. Maybe not the first year or two, but ever since. I remember she became an affiliate for me, and for the longest time, I don't think she is still. Maybe she is. It's either her or you, Connie. But she was my all-time highest earning affiliate, and until recently, at least. And I encouraged her to start putting some of her expertise into a product. And I forget who it was exactly, but somebody was wanting to interview top affiliates, and I suggested that he interview Teresa, and Teresa was just frightened to tears of being interviewed by somebody, but I said, no, Teresa, you're going to be great. You're going to be great. And the interview went off, and she was happy she did it. She was terrified in the beginning, but it worked out. And I've been working on her for the last 2 or 3 years to be a seminar speaker. And finally, 6 months ago or so, she said that she would be willing to try it this year if I had a spot for her. And I said, you're certainly welcome, and I'm certainly happy that you're finally going to get up there on stage. And I said, don't be worried. She said, I'm going to be terrified, but I'm going to do it. So I'm really looking forward to what she has to offer. And she's become very proficient as far as publishing, self-publishing. I've outsourced a few of my books to her to get it done on CreateSpace, where it's a little bit more challenging to have the more intense cover done and whatever. And I've put that in her hands, and she's done very well with it. So Kindle's fairly easy to self-publish too, but CreateSpace, she's great with the things like the even odd footers and whatever, and making sure that the first page of a chapter starts on the odd page, and things you don't really think about so much when you're publishing ebooks and even publishing on Kindle. So I've turned that job over to her as often as I need to, and and she's made a business out of self-publishing now and teaching people and I guess consulting with people. So I'm anxious to see what she has to offer to the group this year.
Yes, she's become an expert in that area. Well, last year, Dennis, when you were unable to come to Earn1KaDay, and we were all just, what are we going to do? Will the show go on? And the show actually did go on, but that's when it took me 2 days, but I did convince Teresa to be on one of the panels that I put together.
Right.
And she was terrified, but she got up there and did it. And then when she's up there, you can't tell that she's terrified, because I went through that my first year of speaking, where it was so scary for me. But once you get up and do it, and she was so wonderful on the panel, and it wouldn't have been the same panel without her.
Right. Right. So that probably gave her the confidence that she could be on stage all by herself. And we have you to credit for that, as well as you to credit for letting the show go on. When I ended up going to the hospital that day, just a couple weeks before the event was supposed to happen, and I had no idea what would happen, because there's a lot of people that invested a lot of money to be there, and I could easily refund their tickets, but the airlines don't easily refund their airfare and all that. So thank you for making it an event that didn't have to be canceled.
Oh, you're most welcome. And I'll tell you now, Dennis, something I've never told you is when I found out you were in the hospital, and it was Barb Ling that let me know, because she's in contact with you every day and I'm not. And when I found out, and I called the hospital and spoke to you, I don't know if you even remember that, but
Yeah, I do.
I knew right then when I spoke to you, I knew that you weren't going to be able to make it to Las Vegas. And so I changed my plans, because I go to Finland and see my family. I have all these things happening. And last year they were coming here. And I immediately went to my schedule and I rearranged everything, because I knew you were going to need my help in some way, that I wasn't going to only be showing up and speaking and jumping around and having fun and all that. I knew that you would need me, and so I thought I'm going to rearrange everything in anticipation of that. So as the days got closer, and then you did ask me to kind of take over for you, I was prepared, mentally, and my schedule was all adjusted. So, I knew always that I would do anything for you, and I guess I proved it to myself then that I was willing to really rearrange and eliminate some things that really could have been eliminated, and it gave me that time to do it. But I'll tell you, my goal for the event, I didn't want anybody ever to say, oh, we loved what Connie did. It was so wonderful how Connie ran Earn1KaDay. No. I wanted them to say, it was wonderful that we got to still come this year, and it was great that Connie helped out. We can't wait till Dennis is back. And that's exactly what happened. They liked me, but they love you, and they're so thrilled that you're going to be there this year.
I'll have to disagree. I think you did a better job than I could have last year, but we won't argue about that, and we'll see if we can do equally as well or better this year. And
I ran a tight ship.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
And people don't like a tight ship so much. And my famous phrase that I uttered 100 times was zero tolerance. If somebody was doing something they weren't supposed to do, Connie had zero tolerance for it. So it was kind of like being back in the classroom, I guess. It was fun, but
Yeah.
no, it was not the same without you. All right, the next speaker is Kristin Joy, and I just spent time with Kristin in Canada, and the first time I met her was at Bob Jenkins, Bob the teacher. He had an event in Baltimore, Maryland in the fall of 2010. And that's when I first met her. And even then, she was doing publishing. She had a small publishing house and she was publishing books for people. And that's when we first connected. And now I've seen her just at a variety of events over the years. And this year, she's a new speaker for Earn1KaDay.
Yeah, she volunteered. She just out of the blue sent me a Facebook message one day saying, I'd like to speak at your event, and I've spoken before, and here's a page, and where you can see some of the topics that I'm comfortable talking about or spoken about before. And I had actually seen her at NAMS, the one NAMS I went to, and she was a speaker there, and I just remembered her as being a very high energy girl.
Yes.
And, it was fun to watch her speak. She kept the crowd awake, and I said, this is somebody that I really wouldn't mind taking a flyer on and putting her on stage. And sure, do it, Kristin. I got a spot for you. So I don't really know her well, but I know that she knows you, and I know she knows other people that are going to be there, like Kelly, and so I'm comfortable, and she's going to be talking about a topic that is going to be appropriate to a lot of people that are going to be in the audience. So it's going to be great.
That would be great. And yes, high energy is the perfect description for Kristin. And this time when I was in Canada, I was with a small group that went downtown one evening, and Kristin was in our group, and we had so much fun. We went to an area, it's called the Distillery District. So I guess there are some distilleries somewhere there. I didn't see any. Mainly I saw the local art. They have a lot of art and restaurants and all kinds of interesting things. But we spent a long evening in our small group, and that was a lot of fun to do. All right, well, the next speaker is somebody that is connected closely with me. I've done things off and on with Adrienne Dupree since about 2009, and I'm so thrilled that you're having her as a speaker, and she's going to share what she's doing with FBA, with selling on Amazon. She's had some great results this year.
Right, she's on the agenda because you recommended her, one, and second, that FBA is a hot topic still, and something that a lot of people think is something that they can make some quick money with. It can be quick money doing it one way, and it can be very slow and frustrating if you do it the other way. So I'm not sure which way Adrienne is doing it yet, but on your recommendation, I'm certainly think that she has a topic that everybody's going to show up for. I know that we had Matson Magleby last year, who was making a lot of money with FBA, and he brought some people into their seats, and Adrienne isn't making quite that much as Matson is yet, but I have every hope that she will at some point.
Yes, I believe she will. She's such an intelligent woman and is showing herself to be a savvy businesswoman now in the making, and that's great. I first brought her to your event in 2013. I recommended it to her, and at the end of the time, so Sunday evening or Monday morning, we roomed together, and I said, Adrienne, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you had to choose between, and I gave her 3 or 4 events to choose from, I said, which one would you definitely, if you had to say no to the others and only yes to one, which one would it be? And she said it was your event. And I knew she was going to say that. That's why I asked her the question, because the people that you attract are really a crowd that she resonates with. So they're, some of them are more tech savvy, some of them more business savvy, just a nice group of people that are very serious about being online entrepreneurs and building a business that's worth something. And I knew that she would love your event and never miss it again.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate you bringing her. And you talked about going out with Kristin and Kelly and whatever. That's something that we like to do at our event too. People.
Yes.
Um, Vegas is a entertainment paradise. You can get in a lot of trouble there, but what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You can lose money if you're a gambler. You can have a lot of fun if you just want to go to shows or see the attractions. The 3D light and water shows or whatever. Or they have. I love the Paris Hilton Hotel with the replica of the Eiffel Tower, and then there's the New York casino that has the if you go through it inside, they have all the different. It's like a big, huge food court with all sorts of New York type foods, and this is just unstoppable. The things you can do. You certainly couldn't get it done in a week if you spent all week there. But so a lot of times people will go out there and they'll group up. We had a couple of years we had the party bus where we would go to a buffet, and everybody would climb on the bus together instead of taking 6 or 8 cabs, and it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun, and I've done a variety of things. I've gone to shows. I like the Cirque du Soleil shows. You can arrange to do that the night before you come in, or even one of the nights. I saw the Michael Jackson The One show. That was really enjoyable. If you like Michael Jackson's music, then people will like that. I'll tell you what's on my agenda this time is to go back down to the Bellagio, something I don't do every single year. And I'm in Vegas usually 2-3 times a year, but I'm going to the Bellagio, and I just want to stand outside on the street with everybody. And I love when they have those fountains that you're talking about, and plays the music. I think it's so beautiful. And I do some little videos when I'm there, and that's something that I'm just really looking forward to doing this year. So if anybody wants to go with me, I have a car, except it's probably easier just to take a taxi or even walk down there. It's about 3/4 of a mile down Flamingo to Las Vegas Boulevard. So that really is an easy and a safe walk at 7 or 8 at night. So I think I'll be doing that. And my topic this year, Dennis, we didn't really talk about everybody's topics too much in detail, but mine's going to be book, blog, broadcast, the trifecta for entrepreneurial success. And I've really only shared this at my event, and I want to make sure that people understand how to put these 3 things together: their book, their blog, their podcast, and really have huge reach and go mainstream with what they're doing in their business. I think it's so important.
I agree. Sounds like a great topic, and I got to get my podcast started. So maybe you'll be the inspiration finally. I know I need to. I just need to commit to doing it on a regular basis so that I don't fall behind and get all stressed out about not doing it for a week or 2 or whatever.
Right, yeah, so you make a schedule for yourself, and maybe you'd want to do it twice a month and keep it to 30 minutes. And so once a month, you could do 2 30-minute segments, and then you'd have it for that month. And you just don't want to let more than a month go by over on iTunes, because then they put you kind of in a separate little section where you're not as recent. So you want to have it every 30 days, for sure.
Okay. I was thinking I would want to do it at least once or twice a week, and maybe if I could commit to that, what my plan was to create, maybe 10 or 15 episodes in advance, so then I could drip them off so that I was always ahead of the fact. So if I had to go 2 or 3 weeks and I wasn't feeling well, or I wasn't feeling very creative, that I would still have enough already in the can that I could just drop one of those in. So that was my plan, but
yeah,
I haven't created them yet. But I know that a lot of people are getting a lot of traffic through podcasts, and I'm sure your talk is going to be an inspiration.
Yeah, there was somebody at my event in Los Angeles in April that she wanted to do one 5 days a week, and I said no. I said that, and they were going to be short, but I said then you have too high an expectation for your listener. For people to listen to that many, it's too much of a time commitment for them. So I encouraged her to rethink that strategy.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to have a special link on this page where people can sign up for the event. I know you still have room, and they still have rooms available. I'm happy to connect people with roommates.
Yeah, well, I thought you were going to put this on your site and
All right,
embed the YouTube video. I'll send you the YouTube video link when
perfect.
we sign off. And I don't want to make any promises, but the people that Connie has already talked about, the speakers have committed. There's always a chance at the last minute that somebody's going to say, I can't make it, like I did last year. I wasn't supposed to be a speaker, but I was supposed to be there. But things happen. But we have a couple other people that we're working on that I don't want to make any promises, but I'm fairly excited about if they do manage to be able to come and go on stage with us. So we may have some surprises.
Yes, that would be very nice. And the one surprise I know a little bit about, I'm going to help you work on that person because, yeah, that's what these events are all about. You never know who's going to show up and what happens. And I know that I would not have the business that I have without going to events on a regular basis. And I didn't go for the first 2 years. I felt like I didn't have the money and that it wouldn't be worthwhile. And that's back when events were $2,000 and it was hard to find somebody to share a room with because you didn't know anybody. And when I first went, it was a big seminar. I went in April of 2008, so I've been online about a year and a half, and it changed my life. It changed everything completely, and I then immediately saw the value. So I would tell people to do whatever you need to do. Maybe somebody can give you airline miles or something, and get yourself to Dennis's event. You'll connect with people and be able to do things that you just can't do if you're just home behind your computer. It isn't possible. So you want to be here.
Right. We'd love to see everybody that's listening to this webinar there, but we don't have room for everybody. It's a relatively, I won't say small conference room, but we don't have unlimited availability. So, and time is wasting. The airlines can fill up their flights, and the hotel might book up our block of rooms. You said that we can get people in now, but that might not always be the case for people who wait until the last minute. So if at all you can make it, we'd love to see you with us. And I'm sure Connie has got a special deal for anybody that signs up through her link. I believe that you said you're doing a Thursday.
Yes, I'm doing, I call it the night before. So we'll meet from about 5 p.m. until about 9 or 10 p.m. and we'll go to dinner. There's about 5 local places that really are walking distance. Some people choose to walk either there or back or both ways. And like I have a car that seats 8. My Honda Pilot, the trusty Honda Pilot, and other people have cars. So and there's always a taxi, but we'll go to dinner during that time. And when you connect with people in that way, you never have that same relationship. It's like when I was in the classroom, I used to go and visit my students, and I always said that when I sat in the kitchen and held the baby while the mom was cooking, I never had the same relationship with the child from that family that was in my classroom again, because I knew the family in a different way. And it's the same here with Dennis's event. You'll have a family of people that you'll be in ongoing contact with for years after, and your business will take off in a way that just isn't possible if you stay home.
Agreed. I couldn't say it better. So thanks for the time, Connie. And,
yes, thank you.
And I'll see you in a few weeks. And until then, have a great day.
All right, you too. Take care.
Bye.